Hello and welcome back to Focus Atlanta. Thanks so much for continuing to watch. We're going to close out the show with a little more information about your mental health and how to exercise your brain. I'm here with the founder of BrainTap. Thanks so much for coming on the show. Well, first of all, give me a little history about why BrainTap?
Well, we're finding that especially because of stress and improper food and lack of movement, people's brains are shutting down and stress is kind of running their life. And so we need to liberate the nervous system so people can have a better life, sleep better, and perform better.
I gotta say, often we assume that when we're having those type of issues that there's nothing that we can do. But you're saying we can play a role in better brain function.
Yeah, just like we found out about physical exercise, we can build muscles, we can build more capacity in our brain. Nobody's going to get rid of their smartphones and all these amenities that we have now that are causing the stress. So we need to build our brain's capacity to handle those things, and we can do that now. We have technology that can help and assist that.
What are the things that we're doing that is sabotaging our brain health that we don't even realize we're doing to hurt ourselves?
Well, the number one thing is, I think, not doing proper sleep prep. We need to sleep deep because that's when our brain detoxes. But also during the day, we need recovery time. There's something called neuroplasticity. If we always go all the time, it's kind of like using a chainsaw. It just the blade, even though it works really well at first, it's going to get dull. We need to reboot that brain and get it working better. So doing some kind of mental exercise like we do at BrainTap will help to reboot that brain and get you back working again. And this resets the neurotransmitters. And that's really what the mental health crisis is all about, is our brain, the most powerful pharmacy on earth, is not being activated because of stress.
Now, it wasn't until I went to the BrainTap website that I even heard the term brain fitness. What is brain fitness? Well,
what happens when the nervous system is part of the brain, really. So it's not separate from it. So when we have stress, the brain starts to predict that that's the way we should operate. So it's like muscles. If we don't exercise, our muscles fatigue, they atrophy, and we lose strength. The same is true with our neural activity. So if we don't, in neurophysiology, they say our brain wires and fires together with activities that we do daily. So exercising those neural networks, like for instance, thinking the positive things, being grateful, having thoughtfulness in your mind, these run different neural networks than when you're feeling stressed and fear. And it's really connected to your physiology and most importantly, your breathing. So when you think of all negative emotional states, they're all controlled by your lack of breath. Every emotional state that's negative, fear, anxiety, stress, depression, people aren't breathing. So you can't have those mental, emotional, stressful events if you're breathing through them. But you have to prepare for that. It's kind of like you can't go to the store without a list, because if you're hungry and you go to the store without a list, you end up looking at the grocery store with all those foods you don't want. So.
I love it. I love it. You're so right. That's exactly what happens. So what you're telling us is that there are strategies. Can you give us a few tips, a few hints about the strategies that we could use for better brain health?
Yeah, one of the best ones is in the morning, instead of getting up and just having your coffee right away. And I'm not against coffee, but the main thing is that your body creates norepinephrine, dopamine, and cortisol all on its own. And if you do a rapid breath called the breath of fire, which people can look on YouTube and get that information, or then go to braintap.com and get a lot of resources that will share these with you. But it's a simple breathing technique that activates the brain's neural network. There's something called the default mode network. And if we condition it to always need coffee to awaken, then the brain doesn't get a brain wave called SMR, which is the one we need for cognition. So think about it like your children need it for learning. We need it to get up and going. It's something that is naturally activated. You can also get outside, see the sunlight, ground yourself. There's a lot of different strategies, of course, that they can use, and we share, with our people on the website.
Oh, I love that. Now, that leads me to the fact that I need that website. Please tell us what the website is so that people can, tap in and learn some of these strategies.
Yeah, it's very simple. BrainTap, all one word, BrainTap.com. They can go there. They can actually get a 14-day trial. So what I'm talking about is brainwave entrainment. So everything we do, every cell of our body has something called a mirror neuron, which is actually monitoring our environment and then responding to it. For instance, I'll just give a couple examples for the listeners. When you're beside water, a lot of people like bodies of water like lakes and rivers and oceans. That's because that body of water actually has a evoked potential of 10 hertz because it's resonating at a 10 hertz frequency. Our mirror neurons get that, and then it starts to create something called acetylcholine. Our brain literally responds to that water, and our body does. Even our NIH says that we have something called a biosphere that surrounds us, and it interacts with everything we're around. So what we want to do is we want to have our environment be something that's conducive. Now, if we can't get to that river or stream or ocean, we can do that through breathing techniques, meditation, or something like the BrainTap device.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing this information. Thank you for, being a resource to us. It was a pleasure to meet you.
It was a pleasure meeting you too. Thank you.
All right, guys, that is BrainTap. Please take the opportunity to learn more. There is something that we can do. It's not one of those things that, once that function is over or once you feel a decline, there's nothing else you could do. You can step up to the plate and make changes in your life for the better. Thanks, guys, for tuning in to this week's episode of Focus Atlanta. I hope to see you next Sunday here on WUTA.